Hello there guys, it's AvidExpert. Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be talking about a topic that is quite deep and close to me, and that is the horror game genre actually dying out? I'm going to be showing plenty of evidence and going over my reasoning, of course, as always, and we're going to be going over a unique point today. This is not unlike any other video I've ever made, so without any further delay, let's just get right into this. Okay, so the first game we're going to be discussing here is, of course, Resident Evil 7, as that's when my channel started to gain momentum, and this is what it was all centered around originally. So let's get into how Capcom actually met their sales target. Now, Capcom originally had a sales target of 10 million shipments being sold, and that is an absolutely ridiculously large amount for a modern game. However, they'd only managed to ship 2.5 million copies within the first week, which is where most of the sales will be made within a single year, and then after a full year they've only come close to topping just over 4 million copies in total. This is a stark contrast to the actual target that they originally had. It's very unlikely, of course, there's going to be a sales boost where 6 million extra copies are just sold out of nowhere, and so considering Capcom has sold less than half of their sales target within a year almost, it is actually fair to call this a commercial and sale failure. Capcom still leading with quite a number of sales though. They've definitely recouped the amount of money that it cost to develop the game, and then they have the DLCs, which gives them extra money and financing, of course. But comparing this to previous projects, it sold less than Resident Evil 6. That's kind of mind-blowing. I am going to end this point for now and move on to the next one, but at the end of the video I'm going to be concluding all of the information provided, and so I hope you do stay tuned until the end. The next game we'll be talking about is Outlast 2. This was another very large hyped project that a lot of people were looking forward to. Now, the original Outlast, for perspective here, in total sold over 4 million copies, and that's from the developer's own mouth. Of course, it's a multi-platform game, and we don't actually have any sales figures that are officially published for Outlast 2, but we do have the Steam Spy chart, which gives us a good glimpse into the actual PC sales themselves. Now, we have 230,510 people registered with Outlast 2 on their Steam account, so at least that many people have bought this and registered it on the PC. Now, if you look at the console sales, it will be hard to judge how many extra copies we have, but I'm sure many people can agree that it is not going to be coming close to 3.8 million or even say 1 to 2 extra million copies than the PC has sold itself. And thus it looks like Outlast 2 has sold majorly under what Outlast 1 originally did. Now we have The Evil Within 2, and this is another game that many people have favorably reviewed and thoroughly enjoyed. Critics and fans of the franchise, and even newcomers alike, have all had a good taste of this open world horror game. I myself highly praised and rated this game for all of its unique and new mechanics to the horror franchise. But it looks like it was a commercial failure on the PlayStation 4, selling only 42,941 units. We also have the Steam Spy chart data, which definitely shows that the PC player base isn't making up much for this. Only 104,000 people have bought this game on PC, even though it's been so well received. This game is literally selling less than Outlast 2, and so Resident Evil is the strong flagship right here. We've got Outlast 2 kinda slowing down. Their second game majorly undersold what the first game did, and then we have The Evil Within 2 that's just flopped completely. Next we have EA shutting down Visceral Games, which a lot of you guys may have heard about. Now, Visceral Games are the guys that made Dead Space. This is a huge franchise and well known to have established itself in the survival horror genre. It looks like EA doesn't see any long-term sustainability in the survival horror genre itself, and of course Dead Space's sales were starting to decline. Now, whether this was down to the survival horror genre dying out or the fact that the gameplay was just becoming much more action-packed and the story was being lost, we'll leave that judgment up to you after you've watched the whole video. Now, the surprising thing about all the games listed here is they generally got excellent reviews from critics and fans alike. Everybody seemed to enjoy the games to a high degree and praise them for all of their unique experiences and the gameplay that they offered. So why is it that people just aren't buying these games? Are people just not interested in horror games anymore? Is that what it is? Not really. I actually looked at a lot of data online, and it seems like the horror genre overall is actually raking in hundreds of millions of views if you combine YouTube and Twitch. And so it seems like millions upon millions to dozens of millions of more people are watching the horror genre than are actually playing it. And therein lies the major problem. I think the entire culture of horror gaming has switched over to a let's play format, and a lot less people are actually playing the genre overall. However, does this mean that the genre is going to die? That's a good question. It does not seem like the genre is going to die overall, but there is definitely going to be a gaming shift, kind of similar to the gaming crash that happened previously, but it's not going to be as hard because we've got a lot of supplementing factors that already exist to make this kind of work. So if you guys consider indie developers, people who make the games like Five Nights at Freddy's and all of these other indie games, now whether you like them or not, that's really not the debate here. That kind of looks like the long-term plan for the horror genre to survive and to actually sustain and thrive, and it's kind of looking like the only way for that to be possible, because these AAA companies with huge budgets being put into the game are just not really making the amount of money required back to even sustain the business itself. Capcom looks like they still might be able to pull it off for a few years more, but with the declining sales and stock price whenever they release a horror game, I'm not actually sure that they'll keep that up as a plan itself. Let me know what you guys think about the thoughts in this video and what you guys think about this topic in particular. I'm sure a lot of people might have seen news articles and other things over the times on horror games not actually meeting their target and might have formed some similar perceptions over the time, or maybe even if you just disagree with me, if you'd provide some points and reasons as to why, you might be able to change my perspective. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and you're just having a beautiful day as always. I'm going to end it off here with a little bit of a different outro, so I hope you enjoy what's coming up because it's pretty epic.